Hello, in this video I am going to guide you through InDesign, which is Adobe CC, 2020, and it's a piece of software for doing print documents and digital magazines, bit graphic design, and lies between Photoshop and Illustrator if you're familiar with any of those programs. It's basically designed to be as sort of streamlined and as clean as possible for designing things like pamphlets, magazines, books, posters and such like. So once you've opened it up, you're going to go to create new. Okay, and this will give you a load of presets. And what we're going to make today is a A4 front cover to a kind of magazine. So we're going to go to the print tab and we're going to select A4 here, and we're going to click on create. So this is the package, and if you've used Photoshop or Illustrator you'll be familiar with the kind of layout. I'm just going to close these windows down because it probably won't open up with those in your version showing. So we've got a toolbar running down the left hand side, and we have our document in the middle that's scalable with rulers, and then we have these windows here, and this is the properties tab, pages, CC library. Okay, now the properties window is really important, and you'll be doing a lot of stuff in here. And it's context sensitive. So when you click on things in here, it changes what's showing in the properties box. A little caveat before we start. I've only started using this myself, so apologies if I'm not using the correct terminology for these tools. I'll refer to them as I've been referring to them. Okay, so we've got a document. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to import our kind of masthead text, and what we're going to do is go into the folder that you should have. Let's just go to where's my pictures? Book Club. There we go. So I've got this Book Club AI, which is an Illustrator file. And I'm just going to open this up. Now the reason I'm opening it up is because I want to copy and paste this directly into InDesign, and this demonstrates the compatibility between Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. So you can take things from those programs and put them into InDesign. So what I have here, when it finally loads up, is some text that I've created into a vector graphic. So vector graphics are different to bitmap graphics, which are based on little pixels. When you zoom into a bitmap image, you're zooming into the pixels and it gets more pixelated. With a vector graphic, you're dealing with mathematical coordinates, and as you zoom in it will remain kind of clean, despite how small or large it is. Now the way I made this was using the website DeFont, and I looked for a font I found. I did print screen, and then I put that in Illustrator and used a process called live trace to turn that into vector graphics. I'll probably do a video on that because it's kind of handy, but for the purposes of now, so I've got this text here. I'm going to select it, so I've got this blue box all around it. You're going to do the same, and you go to edit. I'm going to go to copy, then I'm going to go back into InDesign over here and go to edit and then paste, and there we go, we've got a vector graphic in there. InDesign is used for doing or can be used for doing very large documents, so like 70-page magazines, and for that reason it has preferences about how it displays the pages. Now if I zoom in here It's a little bit pixelated. That's not what it's going to look like in print. If we go to view and print overview, you can see now that it's nice and clean. Yeah. Let's take off. So that's up here in view over print preview. So we take that off and you can see it looks a little bit kind of pixelated. Now you might find on your version that it looks like even more pixelated on yours. So what we need to do, if you want to see it looking clean, you go to view and you go to screen mode, display performance, and you change it to high quality display. Okay, and that will give you the best image to work with. Obviously, if you're working with a large document, then you wouldn't want that because it would really tax the computer's memory. Yeah, but for the purposes of what we're doing, we're only designing a single page at a time, so we want it in high quality. So I'll just go through that again. So it's view, display performance, high quality display, and if you want to check what it looks like because you're thinking, oh, that looks a bit pixelated, I wonder if it is, go to view, over print preview, and there you go, you can see it as it is. Anyway, I'm going to take overprint preview off. You can see I've sort of zoomed in here. That's with the zoom tool here, if you're familiar with that. If you want to zoom out, you can hold down the Alt key or Command or whatever it is on Mac, and you can zoom in and out, you know, in an area like so. You can go to view and you can go fit page in window. There you go. So here I've got my text as a vector graphic, and because I've imported it, it means well, not imported it, because I've copied and pasted it directly in, it means I can change the color of it in the appearance. So if I go to the properties bar here, window, then I click on where it says fill, the little box here, then I can select some colors and I can change it. Yeah, so I'm going to change it to a blue color. I could even add a stroke to that if I wanted. So let's click on stroke. I can put a black line on it. Let's increase that, the stroke size. There you go. So I'm going to do it like so. Okay. And I can also resize it. So with the select tool on, the selection tool here, I can move around the bounding box and you can see it's changing the cursor. So what I want to do is put it in the corner, and this is the scale cursor. I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to drag it in. And the reason I'm holding down shift is because I want to keep the aspect ratio of the text the same. Because if I don't hold down shift, I can drag it like that and it all goes weird. If you do that, click on, press Control Z and you can undo. Okay, so I want it about that size, maybe a little bit bigger, holding down shift and dragging out with the mouse, the left button pressed. And there we go. We got our first bit of graphics on our page. I want to place this text on a rectangular background, so I'm going to go over to my toolbar here, and I'm going to select at the moment it's set to ellipse tool. Yours will probably be set to rectangle tool, but you can change it by holding down the left mouse button and it brings up this other little window, and you can change it so you can make it a circle, you can make it a polygon. Very similar to Illustrator and Photoshop. So I've got the rectangle tool. I'm going to drag out a box like so. Again, we've got the bounding box now. I'm just going to drag it out a little bit more, like that, perhaps, maybe a bit bigger. There you go. And then I'm going to fill that. So I've got that selected, so the properties will be for this box. So I click on fill, I'm going to click yellow, and now you can see it's covered up my text. That's because we need to start dealing with layers, and if you're familiar with Photoshop, then you'll understand this. Let's but we can't see our layers. Normally we have a kind of layers bar window down here in Photoshop, but we can bring one up. We go to Window, we go Layers here, and now we've got our layers window. So if we look at our layers window, we've got the rectangle and we've got this group. Now the group is the text, so we need the group above the rectangle. So we click on that and we drag it and we lift it up, and now it's on top. What's a good idea to do is kind of name your layers as you're working on them. It makes it easier to deal with later on. So you just double click, I think. Oh no, I need the select tool on. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, so let's just put that. I'm just going to double click on that. He says, double clicking. There we go, just taking his time. So I'm call that header, masthead, isn't it? Mast head text. There you go, getting the terminology. It's probably one word as well. And then we'll just we'll double click on that and call that masthead background. Okay, so now I've got my two layers. What I want to do is also align these to make sure they're central. So I'm going to go to my select tool. I'm going to click on, go back to this layer. Oh, I'm selecting individual things. That's because I've got the direct select tool. I don't want that because that selects individual items. I want the main select tool, which is this one here. Click on that, and it go down to the properties window on the right hand side, and we've got align, and I want to align it to the page. So on the first little button here, align to selection, I'm going to change that to align to page, and so it gives a little page icon there. I'm going to put center. It's already in the center. Let's just move it just to, yeah, there we go. I'm going to move it back up to where I want it roughly. There's some nice kind of smart guides anyway, and then we're going to do the same for that one, and then I'm going to align them together now. So I'm going to click and drag and select both, and then I'm going to click on align and align to selection, and align to vertical centers, which they already were. But that would align them. So let's just move this one, Control Z. Let's just move this one a little bit over here. Do the same again, align to vertical centers, and there you go. You can also apply effects to layers. So let's just, or kind of items here. Oh, what am I doing now? I don't want to transform it. Hit it and sort of redo align, thank you. And then I'm going to select effects here in the properties window, and I've got that book club selected, and I'm going to select drop shadow, and I can preview that. Let's see where the shadow wants to come, about there. Yeah, I'm going to do it 126 degrees and click on OK. Okay, and there we go, got a nice drop shadow on there. I'm going to add a border sort of going around the text. So I'm going to select a new rectangle tool. I'm going to click and drag over here. Let's just resize that a little bit. I'm going to go to stroke. I'm going to select blue. I'm going to increase the width of that. Yeah, something like that. And then I'm going to make rounded corners with it. So in the corner thing here, this corner tab, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to select rounded. And then I'm going to increase the angle of that, something like that. Okay, and then go to effects. I'm going to drop shadow. I can't remember, 126, wasn't it? So it's the same. Click on OK. And there we go. We've got a nice kind of cheeky masthead. I've just realised I've got a drop shadow on the yellow box as well. I don't want that, so if I want to turn that off, I just go to effects, and then deselect drop shadow. He says, there you go, let's just take that off. There you go, click on OK. So now it hasn't got it anymore, it's just those items that I wanted. I'm just going to align this border as well. I'm just going to select them all and then go to align to selection and make sure they're all, there we go, they're all horizontal. So the next thing I want to do is import a image, a picture, a photo. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to select the rectangle frame tool. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag out a box here. Now I'm giving it a bit of like room over the document. You do this because for something called bleed. It's when you print a document and then it gets cut out in a guillotine, there'll be a kind of margin of error. So you need to make sure that you kind of print over, you cover over the print area with any imagery or any colors or something like that, so that you don't get like a white line when it's cut on the guillotine. It's not so much of importance for digital media, but certainly for print, you're normally asked to provide a kind of bleed of about 3 to 5 millimeters or something like that. So now I've got my frame selected. I want to put an image in that frame. So I'm going to make sure I've got the select tool on. And then in the properties window down here, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. And right at the bottom it says quick actions. I'm going to import file. Import file, and I'm going to select the mounted JPEG. Click open. Now as you can see, it's quite a large image. We're doing this for print, so it needs to be at least it needs to be pretty big, 300 dpi, not 72. If you want to check the resolution of it, go to view and overprint preview, and then you can see what it looks like. It's not looking too bad. I'm going to make it a bit smaller anyway. Now when you move the cursor in the middle, you can see you get this circle comes up. This is the content of the frame, so this is the image itself. So if I click on that and then move it around, I'm moving the image inside the frame. I'm not moving the box. Now I'm going to zoom out so we can see it a bit better, and I'm going to select the direct selection tool. So now when I click on the image, I'm getting the bounding box. Okay, so the image is the orange box. If I click on the frame is the blue box. Okay, they're two separate sorts of things. So I want to scale this image. So I'm going to click with the direct selection tool, I'm going to click on the image, and then I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to scale it down a bit. And then I'm going to move it around until it's where I want it. Let's just scale that up a bit more. Something like that. With the direct, if I go to the frame, okay, and so if I pick that up, for instance, then I can move the frame to a position. It's moving the moving the frame, but not moving the image. So Control Z. Let's not do that. Okay. If I go back to my select tool, then I can do the same. I can drag that out. So the way this works is when you are kind of like preparing or designing a document, then you might like lay out frames without actually putting images in them, so you have an idea of like where things go, and then you're just going to populate those frames with pictures. So just to explain one more time, because it's different to the way Photoshop works or Illustrator. So with an image, a picture, then you've got two components to it. You've got the frame, which is the blue box, and you've got the contents, the image inside it, which is the orange box. And the way this works is with linked media. So that means if you've used Premiere, then when you're doing video editing, you have media clips, your video clips, and they exist in their own right, separate to the project. It works the same in InDesign. So if I save this project and gave it to someone else without giving them this picture, then they wouldn't see anything. So what we have to do is embed this image within the InDesign document, and we do that by clicking on embed here. And as I've done that, you've seen, you might have noticed that a little chain link sign has disappeared. That means that this picture is now embedded. It's connected to this document. And it's important to do that when you're saving stuff, in case you kind of move the file about and then you don't bring the pictures with it. Otherwise you'll lose those images. However, if you unembed the image, so I'm unembedded now, unembed, can link the original file, blah, 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 blah. You click yes. Okay, so I've unembedded it now. With that image selected, I can go to edit it. Now, in InDesign, you can't really do much to images. There's no effects, not like there is in Photoshop. So what I can do, if I got this image selected and I go edit with, and I click on that, and then I select Photoshop, okay, and then so let's change. So I'm going to adjustments. Let's change the hue and saturation. So I'm going to adjust the hue to there. Click OK. And then I'm going to close this down. Do you want to save? Yes. Click on OK. So I've saved it. Now if I go back into InDesign, bosh, you see it's changed it. Okay, because it's linked that file. So you can have like two things open. And so hopefully I can undo that. So I'm going to edit that and then go to Photoshop. It's already open. And go to image, adjustments, hue, saturation, and then let's change that back. There we go. So you can do some editing in here. And what I've done previously on Photoshop tutorials, I'm just going to open this file here and I'm going to look at cut out PDF. So what I've done, I've cut out the background on part of this, right, in Photoshop. So let's just put that back down. Oh, I need to save the changes I've done on the other one. So let's just close that down. Yes. And then go back, and then here we go, it goes green. So I'm going to embed that now. It's embedded. Then I'm going to click on it. I'm going to edit. I'm going to copy, paste. So now I've got two versions. And I'm going to line it up with the other one. That should snap pretty much to it. So now I've got two over that. But if I want to check, I can just use the opacity here. So I turn the opacity down and it doesn't go blurry. Well, it's kind of moving a little bit, but that's fine for my purposes. And I'm going to change the contents of this image. So I'm going to unembed it. Yes. And then I'm going to import file. And I'm going to select the cutout one, mounted cutout. Just taking its time to load in. There we go. So now I have two versions of this. So if I go to, I'm going to take that off. Okay. So there's the embedded version that's not cut out. And then that's the new version. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the frame on the new version. And I'm going to extend it. So I've got the frame selected, I've got the blue bit selected, I'm going to drag that up like that. And now we've got the antennae going over the image, and it looks really cool. So, I mean, I can also insert things in there. So if I get like an ellipse tool, let's just create something here. And let's fill that in. There we go. And then I move that oval between the cutout and the mounted. You see, we can move it around like so. Yeah, and you can do some groovy kind of effects with that. But I don't want that, so I'm going to delete it. What I'm going to do now, now I've got this in how I kind of want it. I want to kind of lock this layer off so that when I'm working on it, I'm not kind of mucking around with it. So the lock button is here. So on layer 1, so I've locked all of layer 1 now, and I can't do anything on it. It's like, no, I'm going to create a new layer to work on with other elements. So I'm going to do that by clicking on create new layer. And I'm going to make some more rectangles. So like in this bit here, say I'm going to drag that like that, and so this is going to be some sort of layer that says, I don't know, something about the magazine, how much it costs, what issue it is, perhaps. I'm going to fill that in, maybe blue, perhaps, and then I'm going to copy, Control C, Control V. I'm going to have another one of those, and I'm going to put it down here, like so. So this is going to be for more kind of stuff at the bottom, perhaps. I don't know. Making it up as I go along. And I'm going to have another image on top of here for like another article, another feature. So I'm going to use the frame rectangle tool. I'm going to drag an area here, and I'm going to hold down shift because I want it to be square, sort of roughly that kind of size. And I'm going to import a file into that frame, which is the Bulldog Ant JPEG. Yeah, and then I can convert the shape of that. I don't want it to be square, I want it to be circle. So I'm going to go to convert shape, and I'm going to select ellipse. So actually I'm a bit too quick there. So so I've got that selected. I'm in properties. I go to convert shape, and I'm going to select ellipse, and it goes round. Then I'm going to use the direct selection tool. I'm going to click on the image itself. So let's move that around so we can see its head nicely like that. Ooh. Yeah, it's looking good. Oh, I'm picking the wrong thing here. I can't see the bounding box for that. Am I going the right thing? Alright, it's blue, not orange. Wonder why that is. Okay, that'll do for now. I'm going to embed it, so make sure it's there. I'm going to go back to selecting my circle. It might have changed colour because of the layer colour, perhaps. And I'm going to give it a border using the stroke. I'm going to select. It's been a bit slow. I'm going to select yellow. I'm going to increase the size of it. And then I'm going to move this around, so it's probably about there. Okay. All right, I'm going to work on some text. So I'm going to get my text type tool here. I'll click on that, and we're going to put like some kind of strapline thing here. Clicking on there. So here on the properties window here, we've got all the kind of things you're used to. The font and stuff. So let's change the size of it so I can see it a bit better. So let's go to 24 point. I'm gonna select a bold Gill Sans. There we go, ultra bold. Okay, I want it to be a white text. So let's click on fill. I'm gonna select white. Okay, and then I'm going to type something in. Mantids. Okay, and then I'm going to few critters. Okay. Ooh. So this is going to be big. So let's make that a bit bigger. Use clicking on this size like that. And then I'm going to make this smaller so it fits a bit better. Should we put an exclamation mark? Oh, no. There we go. I'm going to go to the box here, the bounding box, and it's going to move it in. Now, with the bounding box, let's just zoom in a little bit more. If I, for instance, made it smaller, you can see I've got this red plus sign here. That means there's more information that's not being shown, so be aware of that. So if I drag it out, and then I can see it. I can also scale it up, so I'm going to hold down the shift key, I'm going to drag out the box. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to scale up with here. I'm sure there's a way you can actually scale the whole thing. If you want to select the text, so I've got the text tool, double click, triple click, and it should select all of it. And I just want this bit here, double click on that. Make that a bit bigger, double click on this, make that a bit bigger still. There we go. Happy with that. And then I'm going to move the cursor to the corner so I can rotate it a little bit. Yeah, make it funky. And put it here, perhaps. There you go. I want to do a stroke on that so that it looks a bit better, stands out more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 clicks selects it all, and then go to stroke. And actually, let's choose a color first. And what's I think blue? I think it's going to stand out nicely. So have a look at that. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm just going to increase 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4. There we go. Just increase that so it stands out a bit more. There you go. Put it there. I mean, it could be more information and stuff. Now, what we can do now, if we want to use that type of text elsewhere, we can set that as like a kind of preset. So we need to get another window open. So let's go to window. Let's go to type. So the window we're looking for is in the type thing here, and we're going to select paragraph styles. Okay, so we'll have this window here. So what I'm going to do is make a new style, and if I click on that, you can see basic paragraph goes back to that. If I click on this one, that's our new style. So what we can do is hopefully name that. I can't remember how you name it. We don't double click on it. I think maybe we have to look at the properties. There you are. Let's cancel that. So double click on paragraph style, and it opens up the window here. This is paragraph style options. We'll call this Bug Club 1. And and then click on OK. It's a big window. Okay, so if I want to do more text in that style, then I just have that paragraph style selected. So let's do that down here. Let's click and drag here, and we're going to select that. Bulldog ants. Let's make that smaller. Drag it down. And let's drop down here. The biggest and baddest. Baddest got 2 D's in it? I can never remember. I'm going to have to change the stroke on that because it's smaller. Let's put it down to 1, and let's put a question mark in there. Oh, I've lost my stroke. That's because it's too small. There we go. Just check the stroke on that. Yeah. I might change the text is a bit close together, so I'm going to change the spacing on it, which is this bit here, where there's 2 A's and then with the space between them. So let's just adjust that, change that from auto to about 19 points there. I'm going to do the same for this text, change it to 19 points. Where's that gone? 18, 19, a bit more. There you go, and that way you can kind of make all your text the same. So let's add some more text in here in a different style this time. So I just realised this box is a bit skewy. Let's put it there. Drag that up. And we've got a text box here. We're going to put a layer. We're going to put some text in here. I'm going to select basic paragraph this time. Fun and facts for kids who love creepy crawlies. Creepy crawlies, exclamation mark. Okay, and then we can go in and then adjust what we're gonna, the type of text for that. So let's try something. Yeah, that looks kind of, looks nice. Now let's make it bigger, and let's center it in the paragraph. So I want that to be white text on the blue background. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, it's looking good. And then I'm going to make that as a new type of paragraph style. So I'm going to click on create new. I'm going to change that so you can see I'm changing it to basic paragraph, new stuff we've made, and then the old one. So let's change that. Let's double click on it, bring up the style window, and let's change that Book Club 2 and click on OK. So again, if I want to add some information down here, so like say what's in the magazine perhaps. Let's grab a box here. Let's set Book Club 2, and then we can write UK insect field guide, butterflies and moths, bug word search, you know, the kind of thing you get in kids magazines. Okay, well, hopefully by this point you've got enough now to kind of be getting on with your own kind of productions, designs. Just a few last things. So let's view, let's fit on the window. Go to window. There we go. So we can check out what it looks like. If we go to view, overprint view, there you go. We can see it in all its glory now. And the only thing that remains is to go to file and save as. So remember that you've got to embed your images, or in your folder put all the pictures that you're using if you're going to edit them. So we'll call this Book Club 2, click on save, and then as in with like Premiere and video, you're going to export this. The InDesign file is not the complete finished product. So we go to file, we go to export, and then we're going to do it as a Adobe PDF. That's the best thing to use. And then click on save, and it'll bring up this dialog window. We want high quality print. We click on export, and now we'll wait for it to do its magic. I think it has. And let's have a look. Book Club 2 PDF. Let's have a look at that. And there we go. There's our front page. Obviously, it's a very sort of basic design. Yours will be a lot more complex. Have fun.